Yeah, just have a seat there, Coach.
Black men on the microphone. Okay. Mic check, mic check.
Good.
1,
Good to
2,
go.
1, 2.
All right. Well, let's rock. What's up, y'all? This is Coach Love with the Recruit Oklahoma, also known as ROK. And today I have a special guest with me on the ROK Podcast, and I'm just going to introduce him. We're finna get right into it, all right? He is one of the most recognizable names in Oklahoma basketball. This coach has amassed over 500 wins and nearly 4 decades of coaching. Only 12 other coaches can say that they've reached this milestone. He has made numerous state tournament appearances and with 1 state championship under his belt. He played basketball at Northeast High School and earned a scholarship to play at the University of Langston, where he was probably one of the shortest players to ever play there. Although he is small in stature, he has the brain of an elephant and the heart of a blue whale. He never forgets a face and always makes sure you're taken care of before taking care of himself. Welcome to the ROK Podcast, the legendary Patrick Cudjoe. What's up?
Legendary.
Legendary. What's up, Coach?
I'm good.
You doing all right?
Actually, my father and his twin brother were shorter than him, and they played at Langston.
Oh, so okay.
So I'm taller than these 2 people.
Okay, well, there you go.
The
What
twins,
third shorter?
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. Yeah. What's going on, Sean?
Oh, nothing much, man. Claire, I appreciate you, stopping by and
Thanks for having me. This is first class. I like this.
man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So, what you been up to?
Well, I'm still on the grind.
Yeah.
Like the article in Fields and Futures, I just love Monday night summer league for my varsity and Wednesday night summer league for my freshman and junior varsity. Like you, Sean, I'm just constantly trying to develop kids.
Man, well,
And
yes.
so it's incumbent upon us. If my kids can't make an AAU team, and a lot of kids can't for one reason or the other, finances or they're still developing, it's incumbent upon me to develop my kids. And I love this time of year where I'm working with the incoming freshmen and the returning varsity and junior varsity kids and just developing kids. So Summer League went really well tonight.
Yeah.
Had a really talented class and team over here, really talented Putnam City team, and all 3 of us were just committed to the ideal of developing kids. So it's fun.
Yeah. So I left one thing out. You are currently the head coach at John Marshall High School. So,
Right.
so how many years have you been coaching here? I know you started at John Marshall.
I started as an assistant coach under
yeah.
the legendary Charles Davis
Yeah.
and the legendary Tommy Griffin.
Coach Griffin, yeah.
And then I went on to be an assistant at Douglas for a year, and then I started my head coaching career at Carl Albert. So I've actually been a head coach just 33 years.
Okay.
And so the other 8, I was an assistant coach.
Gotcha. Okay. So 500 wins. 500 wins. Were you keeping up with that?
I was not. I was not. And it's not a goal I set out. Once I got to 200, I was like, well, okay. And I started, I didn't think about it. Then, I was on the grind at Star Spencer, got to 300, and like, wow, okay. And I got my 400th and 500th win here at John Marshall. 2 schools with a lot of tradition, a lot of culture with Johnny Johnson, Charles Davis, and the legendary, Tommy Griffin. So I'm just pleased to have followed in their footsteps.
That's awesome. So over the course of about 4 decades of coaching, correct? So you said 33.
33
as
as
a
a
head
coach.
and the other 7 or 8.
Four as a junior high coach.
Okay.
And 4 as an assistant coach.
Okay. Good. So, yeah, just right at about
I think that's 41.
41.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So, congratulations. I mean, that's a long time.
Yeah,
so
it is.
Shoot, I'm just 47.
Okay, thank you. You're right. Yeah, I was coaching since he was in first grade.
Right.
I'm put on Front Street. It's okay.
Man, so you mentioned all the places that you coached. Over that time, tell me about the mentorship from people that have helped you along the way.
Well, I got to start with my high school coach, Steve Hudson, who in high school just was so hard on me and made me appreciate defense and work ethic. And he went on to coach at OBU, and he coached in Carolina, assistant coached at Notre Dame, and we're still close friends. Of course, my brother Lance Cudjoe, man, he's also won a state championship at Star Spencer. He's taught me so much about defensive positioning, and also work ethic. Dan Hayes, the legendary coach at Oklahoma Christian University, has over 700 wins. Talking about footwork and fundamentals. And I believe that everyone who does camps here in Oklahoma has gleaned from the template that Dan Hayes brought from New Mexico.
Okay.
The triple threats, the quick stops, all those things. So, Lance Cudjoe, Dan Hayes, and of course Steve Hudson and Tommy Griffin. Man, coaching under him was just a treat, as well as Charles Davis. And so I learned a lot from all of them, man. And so they were all kind to me, and they're all still good to me.
You have spent the majority of your time coaching in the Oklahoma City Public Schools.
Right. 10 years at Middale at Carl Albert. Though.
Okay. And so the other portion, so have they given you the key to the city? Yeah.
No.
Okay. They gonna give it to you. We're gonna go hang out.
Yeah.
What subjects do you teach? Or
I teach English.
Is that all you've taught?
That's all I've taught.
Really?
American literature and British literature, and I love it.
Okay.
That balances me out. I love teaching Shakespeare, the Canterbury Tales, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Edgar Allan Poe, the grammar, the essays. That keeps me balanced.
Who for art thou?
Romeo. Right.
Tis thou.
Shakespeare is timeless.
Yes.
And so are Hawthorne and Poe.
I'm sure the answer is yes. But do you consider yourself a mentor?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't think about it until probably about 15 years ago. Probably about 2009, 2010. My principal, Chris Garden, who's now the head principal at John Marshall Middle School, he approached me about being head of the English department. And I was like, man, we just won a state championship. I'm loving everything that I'm doing here in basketball, and I'm just loving this. But he was very insistent I be chairman of the English department. And it's funny, my mother, when we won a state championship, she was like, oh, that's just so nice, baby. When I became chairman of the English department, she was excited.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because she's a retired college professor.
Okay, she's an educator as well. Okay.
Yeah, she's a PhD. And so when I became chairman of the English department, I figured I am a mentor. Then other coaches started, coming to me and asking me, questions about the things that I run. And really, as well as I do, Sean, in the coaching profession, there's nothing new. We all steal from each other.
Yeah.
We all mentor each
other.
other.
Not trying to reinvent the wheel.
No.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from you when you came in, 2 years ago? We're taking us through the defensive slides and the agility stuff. I love that stuff. So I try to pass on what I've learned, but I'm nothing special. But I do consider myself a mentor because, people talk to me and I ask. I try to do the best I can to help them. We want to grow our sport here in Oklahoma.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of mentors, so let's rewind back to when you were a young whippersnapper.
Okay.
Where'd you grow up? Where were you born? Where were you from?
I was born at St. Anthony's Hospital here in Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City, okay.
And just started playing, baseball and basketball for the T-Birds. You play for the, if you're from the East Side, you better know who the T-Birds are.
Oh, I know. Absolutely. I know who the T-Birds are.
You better recognize.
T-Birds, yeah.
So I played Little League baseball and basketball for the T-Birds, and I'm just a product of the East Side, and I loved it. And so all my coaches, Mr. Flowers and Wilbur Mosley and Terry Mosley and all those guys, Mr. Andrews, those guys poured into me, got me started with sports. And that's just important when you take little boys from 9 to 15 and you encourage them to be the best they can be. So I'll never forget those guys who poured into me. We are.
Yeah, did a great job. So do you have any siblings, brothers? I know you had a bunch of brothers.
My brother, Lance Cudjoe.
You got one brother?
One brother is the head basketball coach at Star Spencer now. And again, like I said, I won a state championship there in 2009. He won one in 2018. And he's just an amazing guy, amazing basketball coach and history teacher. People think that Kyle and Kendall were brothers, but our fathers were identical twins. We were raised together.
Okay, so you're just cousins. Okay.
Because we're first cousins.
Okay.
And Kendall has won multiple state championships at Douglas, and Kyle has had a good stint at head coaching too. So we are, we're just sort of a little bit of a basketball and education family.
Okay. How were your parents?
My father was a career principal. He was the first black head basketball coach at Mount St. Mary's back in the 50s, prior to me being born. Then went to administration. My mother's a PhD and retired college professor. And she's just, I always say my mother made me competent. My father made me competitive. And so those are two things that stick with me. My mother she's all about competency. My father's all about being competitive.
Gotcha. Were they athletes?
My father played college basketball at Langston, and he and his twin played professional basketball for the Harlem Globetrotters.
Wow. What was his name? What's his name?
The Cudjoe twins. Lance and Lawrence Cudjoe.
Okay.
They played for the Harlem Globetrotters, yeah.
Gotcha. So in your younger years, still in those younger years growing up, who was that one person that kept you in line, and pushed you to be great?
My mother and father. Grades were something that just had to be done. Mm-hmm. My mother, if I made anything lower than an A, my mother was not happy. My mother and I talked about that C on my transcript in college. She mentioned it to me just last week. And my brother kept me in line. My brother didn't let me win a basketball game against him until I had to earn it. I was 14 years old before I beat my brother playing one-on-one. He never let me win.
How much older was he?
He's 4 years older than I am.
4 years old. Okay.
Yeah, and he never let me win.
Okay.
My mother begged me to let me win. I was 14 years old. I thought I'd won the NBA championship.
Man, that's it.
Yeah. And so I'm sure with your boys, I'm sure that your boys are hard on each other too.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. And my little girl. So yeah. So,
she's a real athlete.
Yeah. So what was did you have any type of dreams or aspirations as far as maybe playing in the NBA? You mentioned baseball, but
I think we all think in high school that we're all going to the league, and then we get to college and realize, that dude was going to the league, and that dude was going to the league. It's like,
right.
Whoa! And so I never forget. We were in Commerce, Texas, and it was called East Texas State at the time.
Okay.
And I think it's called Texas A&M Commerce right now.
Okay, right now, yeah.
And we went on this road trip. We played Bishop and Paul Quinn and Wiley College and all those schools. And we stayed for a week, and we played East Texas State. And that guy, I'm a 5'8" point guard. That guy was a 6'2" point guard, and he was good.
Okay.
I was like, okay, so there are guys who are 6 inches taller than I am who can do the same thing I can do.
Right.
Those guys are probably going to the league.
Well, you had Muggsy Bogues and Spud Webb.
Those guys are exceptional. I wasn't that good.
Yeah, man. Well, so getting to your high school years, as far as you went to Northeast High School.
Northeast.
And
it's Northeast, not Northeast class and at Northeast.
Right, just straight the Vikings.
Viking strong people.
Okay. Besides yourself, name some of the greats, the greats that played there, some of your teammates that you played with.
The story that I tell the most is Miguel Tipton.
Okay.
And Miguel Tipton left, and I think he might have moved to Michigan, came back his junior year, and he had been playing AAU. And AAU was about development at that juncture. It wasn't about scholarships and high-profile athletes and everything like that. And he came back his junior year and took over. And he had spent that time developing. And he went on to have a really good college career. Barry Lofton's a year younger than I am. Did not break into the starting lineup until his senior year. Okay. Then went on, after we left, and had a tremendous career at Harding. And so those are two guys, those bookends. Miguel's a year older than I am, and Barry's a year younger. Okay. And they just had great careers. And these are guys who continue to develop. And so I could go on with Ray Russell and Skip Masters and Rob Mabry and all those guys too. But I actually played in between, Barry and Miguel, and just great players. And I couldn't be more pleased about how they developed and how they continue to become great, not just high school basketball players, but college basketball players as well. Okay. So were you I guess your team was pretty good? Or? We were okay. We went to the state tournament my sophomore year and my senior year. Yes, sir. Okay. Good stuff. Were you in high school? Were you a multi-sport athlete? No, just basketball. Just basketball. Tell me about your playing style, and tell me what were you good at? I was really good at handling the ball, going behind my back, and doing all those Pete Mervis drills that everybody sees. And so I was a good ball handler. Probably shot a little too much for a point guard. Probably didn't distribute as much as I should, and had what I feel like a real strong jump shot. I elevated on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that was a little jump shot in the
not
gym
much of
for
a jump shot now. It's more of a set shot.
Set shot.
Yeah. So, but had a strong jump shot. Had a good career. Started 2 years at Langston.
Yeah.
And averaging double figures. And it was something to average double figures at that juncture in basketball because I finished my college career without a three-point line. The three-point line didn't come in until several years. There are a lot of you guys out there. Yeah, the three-point line did not come in until several years after I finished my college career.
Okay.
So to average double figures without a three-point line, that's something
phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, everything was worth two.
Right. You had to earn them buckets.
Yeah.
Did you play against your? So did you ever get to play against your brother?
No, my brother and I exactly 4 years apart.
Oh, so he was gone.
I played against my cousin. He played at Central State, which you guys call UCO.
UCO now.
And so we played against each other in high school and college, and that's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: so in high school, were you a class clown?
Absolutely.
I thought I knew the answer to.
You've got to have fun with it.
Absolutely, yeah.
You got to have fun with it.
Yeah.
There's a quote in Shakespeare in Julius Caesar, and it talks about hearing the music, and I just think that we all should hear the music.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you hear the music, and the music is figurative, and so you just have to enjoy life and be one of those people. I was very personal, love having fun with my friends. In college, I love having fun with my frat brothers. I think one day at a talent show, I ripped open my Letterman's jacket, and I think I was wearing a tutu or a dress or something. And everyone just went crazy. It was just, I think I was singing the song "I Gotta Be Me."
Oh,
and
can you still sing it?
No. I can sing, but I just can't sing well. And so I literally would do anything for a laugh. The most important thing is that I like laughing at myself. My jokes are pretty good, I think. But I'm a class clown. I still am.
I probably know the answer to this one too, because we've had some talks.
Right.
Were you a ladies' man?
I do okay.
You do okay.
I did okay.
You did okay.
I did okay. I had my fair share.
Okay.
I had my fair share.
Okay.
Even before I became a Kappa.
Okay.
There's no one Kappa that turned me out. Well, a little bit Kappa did turn me out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Even before I became a Kappa, I might have done okay, but they taught me a few additional things when I became a Kappa about.
About the ladies. Okay. Yeah. We had a few talks in the locker room.
Yeah, and you taught me a lot, Sean. I appreciate it.
No. Gee. So while in your playing days at high school, who were some of the best athletes that you played against?
Leroy Combs.
Yep.
Leroy Combs. I wish people. I ran into Leroy's nephews. He had 3 nephews playing for Norman High, and Leroy Combs, late bloomer. We thought going into our 1979 that they had graduated 5 seniors.
Yeah.
They had won it in 76, 77, and 78.
Mm-hmm.
They had graduated 5 seniors in 19. And so Leroy Combs was probably the only guy. They went 28-0.
Yeah.
Leroy Combs and then Carl Henry, Xavier's dad.
Yeah.
Who played, here's the thing about Leroy. Leroy went on to play at OSU and play for the Indiana Pacers. Mm-hmm. The thing that made Carl Henry good was Carl Henry went to a low level, a mid-major Division I, Oklahoma City University, which is now in AIA, and then transferred from OCU to Kansas to a major. That's how good Carl Henry was. Mm-hmm. Xavier is good too, and CJ and but Carl Henry was something else. And so those guys, Todd Thurman became an All-American there at Southern Nazarene, used to be called Bethany Nazarene. Mm-hmm. And then Lorenzo Andrews and Donnie Bird. Lorenzo Andrews and I, are Lorenzo, and after their sophomore year, Lorenzo and Donnie became just outstanding. So I played against some good ball players. Of course, my cousin Kendall Cudjoe was a year older, Eric Gathers, Matt Clark, and Tim Salyers.
Oh, yeah.
And so just the old Capital Conference, All City Conference, had some amazing basketball players. Bo Overton, who went on to win 2 or 3 national championships with the women's team at OCU and now at OBU. So, played against some good guys in high school.
So as far as recruiting, so I know it's a lot different than it is now. back then, how was recruiting for you? How did that process go about? I mean,
I got a partial offer at Southern Nazarene, and I got a partial offer at Langston. And after a year and a half or so, I earned a full scholarship at Langston. And when you see those shows where they walk in and say, "Hey, you know what? So and so has earned a scholarship." It's mostly in football. But it wasn't any grandeur. He called me to his office, not in front of the team. He said, "Hey, you're on full scholarship." I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So now, but they're documented with cell phones, and it's a really emotional thing. I just called my parents and told them that I'm on full scholarship now, and they said, "Congratulations, get back to class."
That's it.
Yeah,
Get back to work.
No fanfare.
Why did you choose Langston?
Langston offers a well-rounded education. Just wasn't about basketball, culture, culture, and even before people, it's now trendy to go to HBCUs. It wasn't trendy back then, and so it was just fantastic doing it. My mother and father graduated from Langston. My father's twin, and I probably have on my mother and father's side, there are probably 20 plus people who went to Langston, and it was just great culturally. I got a chance to play college basketball.
My mom graduated from Langston in 1980, but
we were there at the same time.
Were you?
Yeah, I graduated. Okay. Well, I graduated in '83 from Langston.
Okay.
And so got a chance to play basketball there. Got a chance to play at Kappa there. Lifelong friends. Met my baby mama there.
Yeah. Okay. How was your transition from high school's basketball to college basketball?
My brother told me, and it's what we tell our kids now, and you and I talk all the time because you are a John Marshall legend.
Well,
absolutely, Sean. I mean, you're on the wall of fame down there here in the building. The pace and physicality, we talk about that all the time. And I'm on my kids now. I've got my leading scorer is going to be a junior, Zio Pokeba, and we talk to him about getting stronger all the time. And we've played teams that this summer we played several teams where the kids are really, really strong, and pace and physicality.
Yeah.
And I had no idea how strong. I'm sure you're 18 years old.
It's different, yeah.
You're going against 21, 22-year-old guys who are strong.
Yeah.
And I remember being, my freshman year, being an 18-year-old backup point guard.
Okay.
And the starting point guard was 20-some-odd, 24 years old.
Dang. Okay.
And he was from Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
And I was like, this guy's strong.
You
And
got some work to do, huh?
You play with guys who, sit out, get the GI Bill, maybe work, and then decide to go to college. So it's pace and physicality.
Yeah. How long did it take for you to break the lineup or get some good playing minutes?
A year.
A year?
A year.
Okay.
Yeah. My sophomore year, I broke into the starting lineup my sophomore year. I think we're all delusional about, going and contributing. And my brother said, "Hey, Pat, you're playing against grown men." I'm like, "Yeah, right." Then you figure that out and you learn the system.
Oh, yeah. First time, I got to college, Oklahoma State, and, it's true what they say. Everybody is as good as you are or better, And so, that's a good transition, but every athlete needs to know that.
Your resume means nothing.
Right.
Resume means nothing first year. Like, hey, because everybody there is a dude. And then you've got guys like your Steph Currys and your Damian Lillards and John Morants who are under-recruited.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, they become monsters in high school, college.
Yeah.
This guy, Derek White, I saw a special on him, and he was under 6 foot in high school.
Wow.
Grew, went somewhere else, D2 school, then finished at Colorado. And he's playing for an NBA championship now. So guys grow, get stronger. Pace and physicality.
Yeah, that's it. Take me through a day of like a game day ritual for you. Like, what do you do? How do you prepare? How do you prepare for games? Your ritual.
Well,
or did you have one? Yeah.
I keep the same routine. I get up every morning and run a mile.
Okay.
Do sit-up and push-ups. I either run my mile through the neighborhood, or if it's weather's too inclement, I have an elliptical trainer. But I run my mile every day, doing push-ups and sit-ups. If it's Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, I'm at 10 gym at 5:30 lifting, because I want to keep my same routine.
What about in high school?
Oh, in high school.
Do you remember
No, I mean, I was just high school. I remember, I know my cousin Kendall and I would always go the night before. There was a Dairy Queen on Lincoln and one on 23rd. We'd go get a banana split and talk about what we were going to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as a coach, I make sure that my English classes are important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I make sure I take care of what I'm supposed to do in my English class because those kids deserve the same commitment that my basketball players do. And after my last English class, I make sure we have a walkthrough. We go to the small gym, have a walkthrough, make sure we understand we're going to do our inbounds plays, any wrinkles,
Right.
and get ready to play. You know, I don't want to be so tense. I want the other areas in my life to receive what they need to receive and have balance. You know, call my mother every day, make sure that, you know, she has what she needs, check with my daughter, check with my grandson, and, you know, make sure that no other area of my life is neglected just because of basketball.
Right. Playing at Langston, do you have a memorable game that you can, that you remember vividly? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Your best game or something.
Ironically, we didn't win this game.
Okay.
But ironically, we were playing Paul Quinn, and I had broken into the starting lineup my sophomore year, and we played Paul Quinn. And after that, East Texas State and Texas College and Wiley College road trip came back, played Paul Quinn, and no one knew I could, had broken into the starting lineup. And I had 16 points in the first half. No 3-point line. They were like, where did this guy come from?
Right.
I ended up only hitting 2 points in the second half because I started cramping. Didn't have enough, carbohydrates or potassium in my body.
Yeah.
Probably, had been in the girls' dorm studying.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. But
studying.
I had 16 points in the first half, and then, people around the school were like, dude, you can really play. And we lost that game. But the respect that I got from people, and one guy from Michigan said, I didn't know guys from Oklahoma could play. I'm like, yeah, we don't have covered wagons here.
Right. No,
we have basketball.
We have basketballs and the goals.
Gyms,
Yeah.
Pitts Park, Douglas Center, Municipal Center. We learned how to play basketball.
Right.
And we're not, just had 16 points in the first half, no 3-point line, and cemented myself as someone who was going to, be a force there on that particular team.
Gotcha. So what did you guys do for entertainment in Langston? Did y'all have to come back to the city or,
we'd all load up and go to Guthrie and go to Love's and get a sandwich.
Okay.
But Langston University is a special place.
Okay.
When you get people
it's a vibe. It's a vibe.
It's a culture.
Yeah.
When you get people from Chicago, D.C., Detroit, Houston, Dallas, Oklahoma City, Tulsa,
Melting
all
pot.
parts,
and
we all are there
from different
in
walks.
Langston.
Yeah.
We create our own cities, our own culture. And those parties at the Student Union in Langston.
Oh, man, I can imagine. Yeah.
Nothing like them. And then, and I talk about my fraternity Kappa Alpha Psi, but the Alphas, the Omegas, the Sigmas, the Deltas, the AKAs, the Zetas, the Sigma and Rho's, we all supported each other. Divine Nine, when there was a party on campus or in the village, we supported each other. It was about our fraternity, but it was about the yard also. So there was plenty to do in Langston.
That's great. That's
Trust
great.
me.
Yeah. That green.
Smash and dash. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. We so Coach, did you have hair back then? Did you?
Yeah. I don't have any pictures with me, but I did. I had an afro, and
you had an afro.
I stuck the pick in the back of my hair like everybody else.
You didn't have a Jerry curl?
No, never had a curl.
Never had a curl?
Never had a curl. I had a shag at one time.
Okay.
Never had a curl.
Okay.
But I had the pick in the back of my head, with the peace sign and the black.
Yeah, the black power.
John Carlos.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I had hair, I picked it out and everything like that, let it run wild. Dr. J started out there. If you run down the floor with your hair running to the wind, but that's cool.
I was looking up Jerry curl today, and did you
Never
know?
had a Jerry curl.
Huh? Never had a Jerry curl.
Never had a Jerry. No activator. In
no
my life.
activator. It was invented in 1970 by an Irish American guy named Jerry Redding.
Really?
Okay. I thought the guy would be black. but no. African American.
Yeah.
But Yeah, that 2-step process to soften the hair, and then you just watch it curl up.
Watch it curl up, and then many a DNA was left on a pillow because it activated. That helped people. That helped Tide and the Oxy because you had to wash that stuff out of
people's couches. That's probably why y'all kept. My parents kept those plastic bags.
Just let your soul glow.
What was Langston's? Were sports? Were they pretty good back then? I mean,
we were okay. We were okay. We had our fair share. Prior to me getting to Langston, probably 7, 8, 9 years. Thomas Hollywood Henderson was there.
Okay.
And first, number 1 draft pick of the Dallas Cowboys. So Langston's always been under a microscope, and our sports department was good.
There was a quarterback.
Competitive.
There's a quarterback. Well, I forgot his name, but he's a referee now.
Preston Poindexter.
Poindexter, yes.
Yeah, everybody knows Preston Poindexter.
Man,
heck of Oklahoma City Public School teacher, coach, probably the best quarterback to come out of Langston.
Yeah,
Tennessee.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, I see him every now and then, and as I was coaching John Marshall, he would talk about my son during the games and stuff, and just
Poindexter's a legend. Everybody knows him.
Yeah. So fast forward to nowadays, to the current state and times. What's your thoughts on name, image, and likeness, NIL? Pros, cons, or just what are your thoughts?
Absolutely for the college athlete, who has who needs to benefit, as much as the universities and the coaches,
absolutely,
and the corporations. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I do think, and I'm not naive. Your Caleb Williams and your guys of that nature are going to, they're the name players.
Right.
Can't think of a basketball guy now. Your Caleb Love. Those guys, they deserve a bigger piece of the pie, but not a disproportionate piece of the pie. I just think that the cuts are too disproportionate. And it's free agency, and it's trickled down to high school.
Right.
And it's unfortunate.
Another thing that also has trickled down to high school is, kids in open transfer now.
The transfer portal is out of control.
It
is out of control.
Yes.
Case in point, I remember 20 years ago when, they came out with an addendum to the rules. I could not even say to a Sean Love, say, for instance, you were playing at Northwest or Douglas, I could say, hey, you sure would look good in this red and blue. If I said that was considered recruiting.
Right.
And then I couldn't have parents recruit you. And so, but now it's open game.
Yeah.
It's open game. The team, there are several guys in the past 5 years that if they had stayed at John Marshall, or had come to John Marshall, they actually lived
like they were
on the
supposed
north
to.
side, like they were supposed to. We'd have had some closer shots at some state titles. We've had some shots at it anyway, but kids can go where they want to do. And again, it's parents can choose where they want to go. For their children, got to choose the best situation. But I don't personally believe in poaching off someone else's roster. If someone approaches me, that's a different animal. But for me to poach off of someone else's roster, I've got problems with that.
Right.
Or people who poach off our roster.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I've seen it.
It happens to John Marshall quite a bit.
Yeah. So after college, did you ever have a chance to play professional anywhere?
No, I had no desire.
No desire?
No desire, no.
Okay.
I wanted to, get started. I wanted to start teaching English and coaching basketball.
Okay.
I'm living the dream, Sean. I don't have to teach English and coach basketball. I get to.
Privilege.
Oh, I enjoy it. I do.
Well, so when was your first coaching gig? Or you started teaching first, or just
taught
both?
at Harding Middle School for a year.
Okay.
And then the second year, I became the head basketball coach at Harding Middle School. Did that for 3 years. Assistant at John Marshall for 2 or 3. Assistant at Douglas for 1. Then a head coaching job. So
talk about your state championship season with Star Spencer. What was your record that year? Do you remember?
25-5.
25-5. And looking back on that season, do you remember any struggles that y'all may have had that could have derailed the season?
So I want to preface it by saying in 2007, we had an all sophomore ball club with 1 or 2 juniors and 1 senior.
Okay.
And we went 22-6 and lost in the semifinals. And said, oh man, we're relevant now. Right. In 2007, we had a couple of seniors on the team, maybe 3, and primarily a sophomore junior ball club again. And I think we maybe went 24-5 or 20, something like that. And we lost in the semifinals to McGinnis.
Okay.
In 2009, we went 25-5 and beat McGinnis in the finals.
Gotcha.
And so it was those.
That was a championship game?
Championship season.
Okay. Yeah.
It was the 2 previous seasons that we were knocking on the door. I kicked the door of the state tournament in and made ourselves relevant. So I thought it was important to mention that. But yeah, we I never forget, we beat Veneta in overtime in regional, lost to Bethany in overtime in area, and had to come back to beat Veneta to go to the state tournament.
Okay.
So those 3 games, regional final, area final, and area losers bracket, those were all 3 overtime games in a row.
Wow. And that was during the championship season?
Yes. And so we
y'all
got
fought
into the
for that
state
one.
tournament and beat Tulsa Central, beat Douglas, and then beat McGinnis. But each of those last 4 games were come back from home. We had to come back during those games. They would come from behind wins. So that built our either exposed character. So those were the struggles. Having to come, those were the last 4 games of the season were comeback wins.
Gotcha. Was there anything outside of basketball that?
No, if you know anything about the city of Spencer, they rally behind you. It's a great community.
Yeah.
They rally behind you, and they pull out all the stuff to make sure that those boys are supported en route to state tournament. And so, you have your little distractions and things of that nature. But,
the usual.
But the entire community was so supportive.
So during that basketball game against McGinnis, was there any point in time? I mean, I know you just mentioned like you fought. You coming from behind and had overtime games.
Right.
Was there any point in time in the McGinnis game that you thought you weren't going to win that game, or were you in trouble?
We were like down 19-12 early, and just couldn't buy a bucket. I mean, it happens in football. It's like, man, we keep driving down there and fumbling, driving down there and getting a stop.
Yeah.
And so in basketball, we just kept on getting good shots. They just weren't going in. They weren't going in, and so finally 1 or 2 started going in. And I don't know if you're going to ask this question later, but I never will forget that we were up 5 with about 3.5 minutes to go, and we threw the ball inside to Josh Davis, our all-state, our phase 7 kick guy, our go-to guy.
Yeah.
He got double teamed. He kicked that ball out to Paul Turner, and Paul Turner hit a 3. And if Paul misses that, they go down and score.
Yeah.
Now we're only up 3 or 2.
Yeah.
But he hits that.
But he hit it.
And we go up 8. That swing, and that sort of let the air out of McGinnis for a second.
Yeah.
We went from 5 to 8, and now, that defensive intensity turns up.
Everybody's hyped.
Everybody's hyped. And we end up winning by 6.
Okay.
I don't think they ever got any closer than 6 points.
Gotcha.
6 or 8.
Talking about, you mentioned some of those guys, Josh Davis, and you said Turner, Paul Turner. Do you
Kendra Talley, who's the head coach at Oklahoma Christian.
Kendra.
He had some huge free throws.
Yeah.
Deontay Thomas came off the bench and became MVP of the state tournament coming off the bench.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, we had some. John Cooksey came off the bench while Josh was in foul trouble. Hit 9 huge points in the third quarter.
Yeah. Do you ever keep up with those guys? I mean,
all the time.
All the time?
Yeah, I was with Kendra this weekend at Oklahoma Christian camp.
Okay.
Josh and we went to Mustangs camp. Josh, assistant coach at Mustang, and we talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah.
Yeah, we talk all the time.
You said you had one brother, and he's coaching. Where'd you say he was coaching?
He's at Star Spencer.
Star Spencer. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have a brotherly rivalry? Like, do y'all keep records against each other? like who's y'all keep a winning record, losing record, or how's that work?
Us coaching now, we've coached against each other. I think when I was at Carlisle, and he was at North, we played once or twice. I think we're about 500 with each other.
Good answer. Yeah. Good answer.
Yeah, we're about 500 because there are times we went over to Star Spencer and beat them and shouldn't have. Then he's come over to John Marshall before and beaten us, and once, and he shouldn't have.
So,
and so we're right around 500 against each other.
Okay, I was gonna say who had the best record, but you say
Yeah, we're right around 500.
Kind of even.
I really have not. I have not kept record, but I did. We're right at 500.
I would have kept. I'd be keeping score. We got 5-0, brother. Let's go. Year in and year out. What's been the most frustrating thing you've ever every year that you encounter during coaching?
Year in, year out. I don't think that people understand. People come on Tuesday and Fridays, and in your case, just Fridays, football, and they're just espousing their opinion, and it goes with the territory about what we should do. And I wish they would come on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and see how hard we're practicing.
Yeah.
Which kids are practicing hard, which kids aren't, which kids have the mental and emotional capacity to take, hardcore instruction, hardcore coaching. They said, hey, you should do this, you should do that. And it gets frustrating. I don't think the general public, understands what we go through on non-game days.
Yeah. You can, I've had to invite parents to practice because they get one story from the kid, but let's invite them to practice. Let them see what little Johnny is all about.
We have a really good summer program, and I believe in the off season. I mean, you've been a part of it before me. You went to OSU with me a few years ago.
Yeah.
And so I don't think people realize that what we do in the summer is worth 2 to 3, maybe 4 wins, because our philosophy is if we have any deficiencies, and we all have them, I want to know what they are in June and not January.
Right.
Because you can hit the ground running in August, September, and October and work on those deficiencies. And so it's frustrating that people don't understand. Everybody comes on Tuesday and Fridays. It's game day. It's game day.
Yeah.
No, game day is not
the
most important thing. Is what leads up to game day.
Right.
And we talked about, in 2009 we won that state championship. We talked about we didn't win that on March 14th. We won it the previous summer.
Yeah, right.
With the work that you put in. You didn't go Division I in football. What you got, 97?
95. Yeah.
You didn't go Division I in 95. You went Division I in 91, 92, and 93.
Absolutely.
The work you put in. People look at the end product, and they don't look at the product.
The process.
Oh, God. And, it's trendy to talk about the process, but the process is full of tears.
Yeah. Pain. Yeah.
Oh, gosh, and frustration.
Yeah.
Cussing and fussing.
Yes, absolutely. So we talked about the frustrations. What's been what's been rewarding as a coach?
Seeing kids start off as a freshman, seeing kids who are Bryce Kemp. The Kemp family, Fonnie Kemp, Bryce Kemp.
Yes.
Bryce Kemp was a kid, and I told my grandson about this. Little bitty kid in the 8th grade, didn't get to start, barely got to play. 9th grade was the 4th or 5th starter.
Okay.
Sophomore year is the only sophomore to get major playing time. His junior year, he became my team captain. His senior year, he became my best player.
Okay.
And so
that's it.
And then you coach your boys and your daughter. We can't look into a glass, a crystal ball and tell who's going to be good in the 7th and 8th grade.
Right.
That kid, he and Kendra Talley, Phil and Paul became my crown jewels of guys who were average or even just not even less than average in 8th grade. Big time basketball players by their junior and senior year.
Yeah.
All 4 went on to play college basketball. None of them are even taller than 6 foot. Phil, Paul, Kendra, and Bryce, none of them ever got, taller. And Darius Bryson, none of those guys got over any taller than 6 foot. Darius may be 6'1" now. Those 5 guys are my crown jewel of guys who became monsters. And so just development, man. Just watching those kids develop into men. And now, Darius and Josh are just tremendous fathers,
Yeah.
And just, that's just fantastic. And Paul, those guys, that's just fantastic. They all have their degrees.
Awesome.
That to me, that's gratifying.
Yeah.
They became college. We won a state championship with those guys, and they got their degrees, and they're contributing members of society.
Right. Looking back over all those years, you've had an effect on so many people, and
Maybe.
No, you have. You have. Can you think back and tell me who is your Patrick Cudjoe?
There's a guy who lives in Dungee named Gerald Wayne, and I never will forget. Do you know? I don't know if you know anything about the East Side. There's a
little bit.
little bit.
Yeah.
On Martin Luther King Eastern Boulevard, I was playing in a one-on-one tournament. I couldn't have been more than 14, 15 years old. And I was playing this one-on-one tournament, and I won the one-on-one tournament. And it was called, it's right there next to the Zoo Amphitheater. They had a gym there.
Mm-hmm.
And he put his arm around me and said, dude, you've got fundamentals. You play the right way. I just think I want you. And he would see me, and he would always keep me encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, and Gerald Wayne was a tremendous basketball player at Dungee before Dungee, transferred into Star Spencer.
Okay.
Before Blake started letting blacks come to Star Spencer. He kept me encouraged. And I tell him that all the time. He came, he still lives out there in Dungee. I created that Dungee game. And we all need somebody older than we are to say, hey, you're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. Because this world is such full of criticism. He just showed me that love and encouraged me, man.
Yeah.
I loved his game, and he kept me encouraged. Of course, my brother Lance kept me encouraged.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not my Patrick, he's my Lance Cudjoe, but
yeah. I
just remember Gerald and my brother Lance just always keep me encouraged.
Cool. Yeah. With the, I had the privilege of coaching with you maybe a couple of years, and
right.
With John Marshall, and just listening to you and watching how you interact with the athletes, and not only just on the court. It's just in the hallway, and you're always encouraging everybody. So I can see how that came down through the years with you, and so that's good stuff. I enjoy it.
Sean, we never know. And it's become trendy and cliche to say the secret battles that people are fighting inside. You really don't. Mm-hmm. And it's not just athletes, people in the classroom who keeps them encouraged. You kept Zadok encouraged. And Zadok still, Zadok's my son.
Yes.
Zadok, he still loves you. And I just shared a video with you, I thought I did, of him still trying to, pursue his dream of college football there in Texas. Mm-hmm. And, we've got to pour into the next generation.
Right.
Herm Edwards said it best, you never know who's in their ear, who's in their huddle.
Yeah. And
so you just got to pour into the next generation. And sometimes that pouring into them has got to tell them things they don't want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
Digging off in them.
Yeah. You spoke about Zadok, your son. I did have the privilege of coaching him in basketball.
Did a
football.
Good job with him.
That was fun, and then
it was the green and black uniforms. What
that was Dream Elite.
Dream Elite, yeah. So, we followed you guys to Wichita, Kansas, Wichita Falls, Texas.
Yeah, we had some fun.
I have not spent that much money on AAU since. Now my grandson's playing AAU.
Absolutely,
I'm starting to spend that money.
So tell me about you have a daughter. Tell me about her.
She is an amazing teacher.
Paige.
Yeah. She's an amazing teacher. Mm-hmm. She's just finishing her 9th year of teaching. She taught at Greystone, Wilson, Harper Tech or something, and now she teaches Independence.
Okay.
She is an amazing teacher. She talks about and she's on it. Mm-hmm. I went to a track meet that John Marshall Middle put on, and Independence charter kids were running in it, and she was hard on those kids, and so she does a good job. And Independence is just, we've had, Nigel went to Independence.
Yeah.
We've had several kids from Independence come here, and it's probably 8 minutes from here, and I'm just really poor. And I did not push her into the teaching profession.
Okay.
But she's going to end up being a better teacher than I am.
Yeah, that's what you want. Good. You want the kids to be better than you were.
Yeah, she's good.
So you mentioned her son, little athlete.
Cade. He's small.
I've seen him running around and a little quick self. Yeah.
He's in love with flag football. Sean, I don't get it. He's a receiver. I don't get it. But I'm going to bring him to you, Sean.
I'll take care of him. I got him.
Bring it to him. He's got good hands.
Okay, yeah.
I think that we were advised to, wait on the tackle
Tackle,
football.
you're right, yeah.
Who's the guy from the New Orleans Saints, the legendary New Orleans Saints quarterback?
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
Yeah.
He said he didn't even have his kids in tackle football until they got a little bit older. He was he and a couple other kids were the only 2 6th graders to make the 7th grade basketball team. So he keeps improving in basketball, and
good.
He's gotten better. And so his mother wants him to run track, but right now he's flag football, basketball, and track. And,
Okay.
And he loves it. He loves Roblox cards too. So and that Oculus. But
yeah, man.
He's a good little athlete. Yeah. He's working on his stroke and his handles, and I couldn't be happier with his development.
Okay. Any more children?
No.
That you know of?
No, that's what I know of. Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask this question, and maybe
just Zadok and Paige, and then the grandson Kate.
Okay. So let me ask this: Are you single? Are you dating?
As far as I know.
Or do we need to move on to the next question?
Yeah, next question. Right now I'm single. Okay. But if you've got good dental coverage and good vision,
right,
call me.
You're good. Did you coach Zadok at all as far as sports? I mean,
just the same thing I do with Cade. I bring him up here and we do training in the gym. Mm-hmm. And so, you and I have college pedigree. Mm-hmm. You in football, me in basketball. Yeah. And so we have to really, really, rein ourselves in from trying to be too overbearing.
Yeah, right.
So I'm trying to do that and let other people coach him.
Yeah.
And
that was one thing I respected about you. You allowed me to coach your son, and you didn't make suggestions, but it's not, no, you should be doing this, you should be doing that.
Nothing overbearing.
I mean, you're one of the most prolific coaches in Oklahoma history.
Thank you.
It's one of those things where, sometimes I look for you. I ask for advice sometimes, but you didn't never, as some parents can and will do, is overstep their boundaries. But you let it happen. And so, that's one thing I respect about you. So.
You, Sean, know a lot about all sports. Baseball, basketball, football, track. Yeah. The agility stuff you do is fantastic. I appreciate it. Jim and the Christmas, I love that.
That's fun to do.
Yeah, and so, you're competent. I'm still learning about basketball.
Me too.
When again, I saw some things this weekend at the Oklahoma Christian Team Camp that I'm going to implement, and we keep wrinkle because we just you have to be a lifelong learner.
Yeah, I always got to be learning. Yeah.
Yeah, in sports and in academics.
Tell me, if it's one thing that you've learned from the game of basketball, what life lesson have you learned from basketball?
It's development. Mm-hmm. Development. You never know who's going to continue to just develop. Again, you mentioned Ja Morant. I mentioned Ja Morant, Steph Curry, Damian Lillard. Jokic went in the second round. Mm. That means every team passed on him. At least once.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Right.
Giannis was not a McDonald's All-American. Mm. I mean, so every team passed on him. So to me, it's about development. I respect how Kyrie has rewritten the narrative.
Yeah.
A few years ago, he was a locker room killer. Mm-hmm. He was a locker room killer. He was a chemistry killer. Yeah. And I've told my kid, Zio, since he became a mentor and a team guy, how's that team elevated? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the one lesson I've learned is, and Tommy Griffin, Charles Davis, and Johnny Johnson were huge. They would never cut a kid prior to his senior year. Because a lot of kids come back between junior and senior year. Yeah. They're bigger, stronger, taller. Yeah. And so we all develop at different rates. Yeah. You've got 3 kids. Did they all walk at 11 months or 12 months?
I can't recall. They're all different ages.
Different times.
Yeah, different times. Yeah.
It happens when it's supposed to happen.
Right.
We all develop. And sometimes parents ask me, hey, is my son it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. Because maybe she walked at 11 months and the boys walked at 12 or 9 or 10. It happens when it's supposed to happen.
Right.
And so that's the life lesson I've learned is that we develop when we're supposed to develop.
Yeah. Coach, do you remember the movie Back to the Future?
Very well.
With Marty McFly.
Marty McFly. Michael J. Fox.
Yep. And so you remember the premise? It's when they went back in time and they saw themselves doing this and that and the other and had the opportunity to go back and try to change history and fix it. let's say that you are a star in that movie again, Back to the Future, and you get a chance to go back in time to your freshman year in high school.
Right.
What would you tell yourself? How would you? Would there anything you would change or talk about or give advice?
I can't, because everything's led me to this point, and I love my situation.
Mm-hmm.
I love my family. I mean, I love where I am in life, and I wouldn't change anything.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go back and tamper with any of that.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, every experience that we have leads up to where we are now. And we're the sum total of all our experiences. And I like where I am now. It's not in my hands. It's totally in God's hands.
Right. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so my favorite scripture is Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I'm God. So I'm not going to, I wouldn't change a thing.
Okay.
Because it may throw off something that I really,
Right.
if you realize what they say, the space-time continuum is going to throw something else off.
Yeah.
I love where I am right now.
Gotcha.
Sitting in this chair, visiting with you, and doing this. So I wouldn't change it.
I know previously we talked about championship game at McGinnis, playing McGinnis. That momentum that you had at those under 3 minutes to play,
Right.
that bucket to put you up, and you had the momentum. Games and contests are basically considered or determined by momentum. Momentum swings, momentum shifts.
I like that, yeah.
And so, is there one point in your time in your life where you had a momentum shift, whether it was positive or negative? Can you remember a time like that?
I remember at one juncture, probably my last 2 years at Star Spencer, that two teachers were battling with each other. I mean, and they were talking, and you know when brothers, when we start talking, you can tell the verbiage changes.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
These Negroes get ready to fight.
right.
They're going to turn this cafeteria out.
Yeah.
And I stopped, and I put my foot up on a chair in between the two of them. I said, man, we're not going to do this here. We're not going to do this here. And I knew at that juncture that not only could I lead kids, I could lead men. And it was probably 2011 or 12.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, we're not going to do this here. And it diffused the situation. And when you start talking about leadership, because I just didn't want, I don't want to break those brothers up either.
Right.
But I didn't want them to put their careers on the line, because you know how we as black men can get.
Yeah.
That bravado comes out fast. Like, you talking to me? You talking to me?
What you say?
What?
Yeah.
You want to do something?
Right.
So I put my foot up on a chair in between the two of them. I said, man, we're not going to do this here.
Yeah.
And I think it brought them back to their senses. And at that juncture, I said, well, Patrick, you can not just be a leader on the court of young men, you can be a leader of men. And it wasn't long after that Mr. Gardner did ask me to be chairman of the English department.
Yeah.
And so I guess my responsibility just wasn't to the kids.
Right.
It was to my coworkers and my colleagues also.
Yeah. I'm going to end with this. And, Billy Graham once said, I think all coaches have heard this saying, this phrase: a coach will impact more people in 1 year than the average person will in an entire lifetime. And you've had a profound effect on me just as a coach. And but with that saying, you've made a difference for 30, 33, 34, 40 lifetimes. Just how many years you've coached. Every year is somebody's lifetime. So I'm just kind of putting it in perspective. You've affected and impacted more people than you can imagine. So
thank you.
You just a great coach, a great mentor, and man, I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. I know you're tired, but
no, I mean, I'm good. I've had so many of my ex-players become coaches. Lenny Hatchett, who's won 2 state championships at Dale City. Yep. Kendra Talley, who's a head coach at Oklahoma Christian. And these are guys who played for me.
Yeah.
Josh Davis and Randall Harding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just to see people go into that profession, because teaching coach profession doesn't pay financially.
Right.
But like you said, it pays emotionally. I can't put a price on this.
Yeah.
I can't put a price on, the love that I got after that 500th win. I think that thing got reshared probably between 10 and 15 times.
Yeah.
And some of them weren't even people who played basketball for me. These were ex-students.
Yeah.
And so that appreciation, a close friend told me recently, she said, Patrick, you need to sit back and reflect on this. I'm like, I got summer league coming up.
Right. Yeah, I ain't got time to reflect.
I got to move on to the next thing. Like you.
Yeah.
You had Kaylin, you had Cameron, and now you got the baby. You got the next thing going.
Yeah.
You don't have time to be like, yay, because Cameron just graduated from Navy. Congratulations.
Naval Academy. Yeah.
But now you got one going into college.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't have time to breathe, do you?
No.
And that's the beauty of basketball.
Yeah.
If you score next possession, I go play defense.
Yeah.
You get scored on, I got to go play offense.
Yeah.
And so you're doing an amazing job.
Man, I
just got one out of college. Like, I got another one in college.
Going into college, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So, it's about the grind of the next challenge.
Yeah.
And I think that keeps us all going, right?
Yeah.
What's the next thing? We talking basketball. What's the next possession?
Yeah. I would never forget in practice, every possession counts.
Every last one.
Every possession counts, especially in those basketball games. But same thing in life. Every possession counts.
Every possession. You got to pay for another. You got to pay some. And even though she's got a scholarship, still gonna be some money out your pocket.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just had to get a little car, and that was some money out my pockets.
And make sure you get you that Chick-fil-A app.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure it out myself, but anyway.
Yeah. But no, Coach. I appreciate you coming through and talking with me. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah. Take care of that next possession, Coach.
Next possession. Yeah.